potential big fight against China, as they sometimes emphasize these days, whereas the Army is sort of more in the relationship building business. I mean, I know I'm oversimplifying, but that sort of comes out of, if you read the Indo-Pacific strategy, most of the big modernization and lethality investments are Air Force and Navy. Most of the partnership investments are more on the Army side. How should I think of that?
Well, it's hard.
One last question, and then we'll go to others who I know have a lot to ask you about as well. We talked, I threw out the Peace Corps metaphor a minute ago. Let me now switch over to the more long-term, dire scenario of a worsening relationship with China that, heaven forbid, it come to pass. But if we wind up in a more rivalrous state, are you thinking long-term about ways in which the U.S. Army might more permanently establish combat power throughout the broader region? I'm thinking of bases that perhaps are primarily Air Force or Navy, but where the Army has a huge role in providing missile defense, long-range fires. Now that we're out of the INF Treaty, perhaps surface-to-surface missile batteries. You alluded to hypersonics in your remarks as well. This could be in the Philippine archipelago. This could be in other South Asian or South Pacific nation archipelagos. It could be in Vietnam someday. You know, I'm just wondering to what extent the Army is thinking about these kinds of possibilities in the abstract. I realize you don't want to get ahead of the game and start asking countries to base forces where those countries are trying to balance their own relationship with China. But in a more abstract, general sense, are you thinking about, you know, what Andy Krepinovich calls archipelago defense? Are you thinking about new kinds of combat formations throughout this broader region that, if necessary, we could establish and sustain?
So I highlighted the multi-domain task force concept, and to do it justice, you would need far more time to sit here and discuss, but and ultimately bring experts like General LeCamera out in U.S. Army Pacific and others. But a multi-domain task force brings long-range precision fires and effects. So a hypersonic battery, the precision strike missile, which is the ATACMS replacement, electronic warfare, cyber capabilities, and the disposition of the capability, Senkakus, Ryukus, you could put it down somewhere in the South China Sea, and those have the effects to change anti-access area denial type of capabilities. So it basically has the inverse effects. And then what it can do is become a ground seed element, suppressing enemy air defenses. So that then can flow in ships or airplanes or other, along with being a deterrent, which is the ultimate goal. We don't need any more gunfights. We don't want any more. But if they come, we'll be ready.